Ask a fan of the banjo what it is they love about the instrument, and of course they're going to say that twang. But they're also probably going to say that sugary sweet glide between notes. It's so beautiful. And I can remember when I was first trying to learn the instrument, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to slide. I found it to be so compelling and so beautiful. It's one of those banjo does it best techniques that is tapping into the soul of the instrument. It brings so much character to our sound. The slide is also the most difficult of the 3 families of fretting techniques to do well. Today, I'm going to show you 3 elements that make for an excellent slide on Banjo Quest. All right, before we tackle the lesson today, I have 2 quick things. The first is a bit of a request, and I've never made this request on my YouTube channel before, but today I'm going to do it. If you haven't done it already, I would really appreciate it if you subscribed below to my YouTube channel. That will help me in the analytics, and I'm also trying to hit 10,000 subscribers. We're at almost 7,000 now. I think 10,000 is reasonable. And the reason I want to hit 10K is because it would allow me to integrate my brand new merch store into my YouTube channel, which would make my life a whole lot easier. So if you enjoy and value what I do here, please hit the subscribe button below. Now, the second thing is the merch store is going live today to the general public. I announced it and released this t-shirt to patrons only, but now I'm opening it up to the general public. You can find out more information about that below. Go to the link, the Teespring link in the description below. And when you buy one, you are supporting me as an artist directly, and you're getting something totally cool in the process. Check it out. All right, let's dive into the technique. The first element to a great slide won't surprise any of you who have been watching this channel for any length of time, and that is the timing of the slide. This is an 8th note pattern. Remember, when we're working with the fretting hand, we're primarily working with 8th note pattern generation, and the slide is no different. Pull off, hammer on, slide, all 3 of those families of technique have to do with creating 8 notes within the clawhammer patterns. Now, for the slide, this presents a little bit of a problem because it's very easy to rush to the destination note, particularly when you're playing the slide. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about the slide that demands that we move. I think it's because it is so exciting that we want to just plow through and get to that destination note. But you know better. You're watching Banjo Quest. You know that that initiating note, the origin note, needs its fair time value. So make sure you're focusing on the origin note, holding it as an 8th note, and then quickly and decisively moving up the neck to get the destination note, that second note of the pair within the slide technique. Now, let me show you what that's like. I'm in double C tuning like I have been for the entirety of the Blueprints of Clawhammer series. No surprise there. We're going to set our first finger down on the 2nd fret of the 2nd string, and we're going to slide to the 4th fret for this entire episode of Banjo Quest. So just get used to that. So I'm setting that first finger down. I'm getting my first 8th note. On my upstroke with my striking hand, I slide, and then I do a ditty on the same 2nd string. All together, that pattern is make sure that slide is getting a nicely divided 8th note pair. Don't rush to your destination note. The second element to an amazing sounding slide is the smoothness of that effect. And here's how I figured out how to get that smoothness in my own playing. This is one of the cool things about the slide. The slide is usually the tool that a banjo player will reach for when we need to cover a whole step change in pitch. So when I'm sliding in this pattern, I'm going from the 2nd fret all the way to the 4th fret, which means there is this little fret in the middle of that transition from 2 to 4 frets that is kind of in the way of getting a smooth sound. And if I just grab the string and rake my hand up the neck into my destination note, I'm going to sound that middle fret. All right, so let's get rid of this lumpy slide issue. First thing I do is get a nice true 8th note fretted on the 2nd fret, 2nd string with my index. Now, I'm going to release just a little bit to sort of almost jump that middle fret like a fence. And then as I slide to my destination note, I gradually increase pressure, and I think of this as a release and squeeze technique, where I fret, release and squeeze into the slide. And you should, hopefully if my mic is catching it, you should hear that liquidy, smooth slide. Without the middle note getting in the way and creating lumpy gravy. Now, I sure wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self this, because I didn't know the lumpy gravy problem was a problem. I thought it was just a limitation of the instrument, and I just kind of ignored it. Well, I'm gonna have lumpy slides. It's fine. I didn't even know they were lumpy. I thought they were just slides. It wasn't until much later, after that 5-year mark, where I started seeking out that way smoother, nicer sound. I started listening to my very favorite players and saw that their gravy wasn't lumpy, it was nice and smooth. How can I get that smooth sound? And this is the way I devised to get it on my own. Hopefully this helps you. Don't do too much of a move. These are micro motions, and you've really got to be careful, because if you do them too deeply or exaggerate them, they're totally gonna screw you up in the opposite way. Take your time, small moves, gentle hands, but hopefully if you at least know that a lumpy slide is bad, it will help your ears lead you to better technique. The last element of a great slide, and another little growth ring marker that I notice on players, is when you slide, you should move your entire fretting hand with you. Now, a lot of you out there are like, wait a minute, I thought we were all about efficiency here on Banjo Quest. I thought it was all about making sure things were easy and efficient. And the most easy and efficient way to get about doing a slide is by leaving the hand planted and using the fingers to slide up the neck on their own. And this is one of those sort of counterintuitive elements of banjo play where, yeah, you could probably argue that this is sort of a more efficient way because you're not breaking position. But the problem with this kind of slide is it doesn't give you the easy leverage that you're going to have if you keep the thumb behind the sliding finger the whole way up the slide. If I open up my fretting hand like this, I have to sort of pivot and torque into the fretboard to maintain good pressure, and I lose a lot of the easy leverage that I normally would have. When I'm sliding, I'm using my whole hand as a solid apparatus with which to extract great tone and great timing. And when I slide up the whole hand, release and squeeze into that destination note, I don't have to squeeze very hard because I've got great leverage and power over the fretboard because that thumb is supporting the slide the whole way. And in reality, even when you're playing fast, moving the whole hand can be incredibly quick. It can be a quick and decisive move. One of the ways to make sure that your slide has glide is that you're not crushing the neck with pressure. I'm barely touching these strings. I'm floating above them. My thumb on the back of the neck is just contacting it ever so slightly. It's very light. It's not sticking. I'm not crushing the neck. I used to. I'm not crushing the neck with pressure. I'm nice and light. So that slide, when I move my entire hand, there's very little pressure going on. We can see that as I get up to speed. Now, the last little bonus thing that I will mention should go without saying if you've been watching the Blueprints of Clawhammer videos. Underlying the slide, we take the left hand away, we delete the fretting hand. Guess what is lurking beneath? Boy, strange. That bum ditty. if your bum ditty isn't sorted, if you're not doing it well, the slide is going to be a non-starter because underlying that slide technique is in fact the bum ditty. So make sure you've got that pattern in your hand without having to think about it before embarking on this much more difficult task of creating an 8th note pattern with the slide technique. Now that will do it today, the 3 elements of excellent slide technique. If you want more of this material, hop on over to Patreon. And if you want one of these totally amazing, badass t-shirts, you can check it out in the link below. I will see you next time on Banjo Quest. All right, let's dive into the lesson. Now, the first elephant. Good God.